Hello guys, my name is Obanko Ahindero. I'm a documentary filmmaker, a travel enthusiast, and a multimedia consultant. I'm also the creative director of F11 Technologies. Sometimes in June this year, I and my team took a trip to Ori Oke Agbaja, that is the Plateau of Agbaja, to try and explore the village and also find out what recreation we could find, to try and find out its tourist potentials. And we also thought to delve into the historical perspective of the community. So in our trip, we interviewed the king or the paramount, the ruler of the community. When we arrived the community, we interviewed the ruler of the community, His Royal Highness Abubakar Isa Aluberi. He gave us a brief historical perspective of Agbaja community. He talks about the education of the people. He talks about the culture. He talks about their resilience. He talked about how they survived certain wars, how they became the ruler of all the Oworo lands in Kogi State, Nigeria. The most interesting part of this journey for me was the climbing process. The community is about 700 meters up the mountain. It is quite an interesting climb. While we drove up the mountains, it was quite the fun for me. It's in itself something to explore. It is in itself an adventure, and for me it was one of the things I thought to document as the tourist attraction to the community of Agbaja, which is climbing the mountain itself or driving up the village itself. Was for me one of the best adventures I've had. Help foster tourism in the community because of the beautiful weather condition of the village. It is totally different from what I've seen. It is amazing. The space is lovely, the green is lush. It is so beautiful. I thought it would be ideal to have a cable bridge run through Agbaja community all the way to Mount Patti. I think it will be one of the longest cable bridge and one of the most fun to ride on cable bridges in Nigeria.
My name is Abubakar Isa Alubere. I'm the traditional ruler of Agbaja community. Agbaja community comprises of people who came from various places to settle here for one reason or the other. Could be farming, could be hunting, it could be taking refuge from warriors in those days, the Nupe Fulani warriors in those days. Agbaja was so secured that period. And so, when these warriors were rampaging all over the place, they discovered that Agbaja was so safe and secured. What makes Agbaja secured? We are on a higher platform, on a plateau. Our soldiers were placed in the surroundings, and before any warrior could come up, he will be sighted. That is one. Secondly, the community too was surrounded by thorny plants like cactus and other plants that had these spikes. And it was not easy for the warriors, the Nupe Fulani warriors, to penetrate this this community, especially with their horses, because of the thorns. So People were coming from various places to settle here for these so many reasons I've said. And from there, you understand that what we mean by Agbaja is that people come from various places to settle here. That is Agbajo. Now I'll go back to our ancestral origins. You may have noticed that we speak a tongue that is very much Yoruba, just like you people too from Okun and Yaba. Particularly, our tongue uh, sounds more like Bunu, and this is because our ancestry is the same. It was said, it was told by our forefathers, and there are references in archives, in books, that a group of Yoruba hunters from Ile-Ife took off on an expedition, hunting expedition. And as they were traversing space towards the northeastern part of Yoruba land, they were killing animals, games, until they got to Mount Patti in Lokoja. Now, this journey, like I said, started in Ile-Ife, and they were moving on top of the Yoruba hills, climbing the Yoruba hills until it brought them to Mount Patti in Lokoja, where they decided to rest. Some of these hunters, after a few, after spending some time on Mount Patti, out of curiosity, some of them stayed back in Mount Patti while some of them continued along the mountains. As we are ascending that hill that took you to this place, if you look, you will see the range of hills until you got to the top of the plateau. That was their route that brought them to Agbaja. Now, when they got here, they settled in a place called Akodilila. And they succeeded in getting a lot of games, a lot of animals, bushmeat like we call it. So when they went back to their colleagues on Mount Patti in Lokoja, they reported to them that, Owowaro, that is, their adventure to Agbaja was so successful. Successful in the sense that they were able to kill a lot of animals, or what run here. So that is how Oworo itself got its name, Owowaro. The colonialists that were here corrupted it in so many ways. Some will call it Awuro, some call it Awaro, but we know it to be Oworo, and that is how that is the history, the very origin of Agbaja and Oworo. Now, that period, among these villages that I told you about, we have so many villages that time. A few among the villages in Oworo would be Agbaja, Ogbabo, Jakura, Emu, Tajimi, Opeko, Opaka, Irimi, Jamata, so many like that. But from the very beginning, we didn't, every community was independent of the other. That is, Oworo was a Republican community. Everybody on his own, not depending on the other. And what we used to have then was Olu Agbaja, Olu Jakura, Olu Bajana, Olu, just like I've said. Everybody was an Olu on his own. However, when the Nupe Fulani Wars started, most of these villages were being attacked, and the people were being taken away from their villages to Nupe land, Bida. And it is said that if you get to certain quarters in Bida today, you hear people speaking of Oworo there. Those are people that have been taken from here to Bida as palace aides, as servants, and so on. Now, that's the idea occurred that we must have a way to stop this rampaging Fulani Nupe warriors. And so some chiefs came together. The Okpoto of Ika, there is a village, or there was a village called Ika. There is a village called Jakura. Ika village was being completely, how do I put it, eradicated as a result of these wars. Most of them, in fact, almost all of them have been taken away to Nupe land. And the king of Ika became worried. And so he met the Olu of Jakura to seek his advice on what to do about this war that had taken all his people away. Now, the king of Agbaja, the Olu Agbaja, as at that time, was very friendly with the Etsu of Bida. Olujakura was not at all friendly with the Etsunupe, and it gave him concern that he could not approach the Etsunupe himself. So the Olu Agbaja that time advised that to free themselves from these warriors, it will be necessary for the three of them to visit the Itsunupe and plead for plead with him to withdraw his army. It was agreed. They fixed the date that they were supposed to have to take off. But the two village chiefs, Jakura and Ika, they failed to turn up. Again, Oluaba of Agbaja contacted them that they should fix another date. Another date was fixed. But like the first time, they failed to turn up. They did that 3 times. And Olu Agbaja, he is by the name Aba of Agbaja. Out of love for his friends, decided to go to Bida and plead on their behalf so that the soldiers, the warriors will be stopped from attacking these villages. Now, Oluaba achieved this objective by a stint of diplomacy. He went there not for his own sake, but for the sake of friends. That is love, loyalty. But getting there, getting to Bida, the Esunupe did not attend to him. In fact, he ordered him to be put aside. In fact, almost like he was locked up. So it was only the following day that he requested that Olu Abba should be brought to him. And then he asked him, what gave you the courage to leave Agbaja and come to him in Bida? He answered that whether he's in Agbaja or he's in Bida, that the Etsunupe had every power and authority to deal with him the way he wanted. And he was asked, what brought you? And he said he came to plead with him to have mercy on the territory of his friends, his co-Olus. And Esunupe was very satisfied with his answer and regarded him, saw him as a very courageous man. Having left his territory uninvited, coming to plead for his friends, taking the risk of losing his crown or even his life. And he commended him for being a true leader, uh, leader, a true friend of his co-chiefs. When Olu Aba arrived at Agbaja, he ordered all other chiefs to come and celebrate his arrival and the glory that he brought from Bida. So all these villages, they all came around uh, drumming, dancing, welcoming him back. And I think that should be about the first time that we'll have horses. Our people will see horses that he got from Bida. Now, these chiefs on whose behalf he went to Bida, they were taken aback that this is not what they agreed with Oluaba. It was to go and plead for them, but see him coming back with a crown. So they took courage and came to see him and asked him that what happened to their mission, the mission they were supposed to go together. And he replied that, Ami Obuda Nwunyani said, a little boy like this in Oworo already knows what Ami Obuda Nwunyani said. They already know what it means. And I will translate it that if something is of value to you, you don't send an intermediary to get it for you. It was said that actually Oluaba was not the intended beneficiary of that crown, but out of fear, the other two chiefs refused and failed to go to Bida with him. And so when he was given the crown, they should not expect that he will just bring it and give it to them. That is the meaning. Ami Obuda Nwunyani say. So another version to the story of our origin is that from Mount Patti, another set of hunters went through Ika village to enter into Oworo land. And the Olu of Ika was made the paramount ruler of Oworo there. And it was through there that they would say the first paramount ruler of Oworo came from. But if you juxtapose this story with the earlier one I told you, you will now see that uh, it is different from our own version here. The explanation that people from that area, from the Ika side, have for this is that the Fulani warrior who was representing the Fulani and the Etsunupe in that warfare, they call he's by the name Mansaba. Entering into a war, he became, according to a book from that area, they said he became tired of penetrating and going everywhere in order to collect tribute for the Esunupe. And so, according to them, he asked all uh, kings from the various villages to gather and appoint one person, one of them, as their leader, who will be collecting tributes for him. So, according to that story, they said the Olu of Ika that time sent emissaries all around for every king to collect bows and arrows, guns, and what have you, and assemble at Ika. That after succeeding in doing that, the Mansaba now regarded him as a strong, powerful king and pronounced that from that time he has made him the Olu of Oworo, that is the paramount ruler of all Oworo people. So these are the two contentious original stories of Oworo. But if we are to punch holes in all these things, a tribute collector, a tax collector, does he have the power to appoint a paramount chief, a paramount king for our people? The only person who could do that time was the Esunupe. And in any case, requesting other communities to bring bows, arrows, and guns, it would have given the warrior the impression that these people were coming with all these things to attack. And so it would have been a very treasonable act. Our people are well read. In the whole of Lokoja local government here, Agbaja people are the most educated. In fact, they talk of Agbaja as having no other industry apart from education. Even in the colonial times, after primary school, after secondary school, our people went into the services, the civil service and the armed services. And I will mention just a few of our people. We had in the 70s and 80s, we had a commissioner. That time we were in Kwara State. by the name Alhaji Maman Ali Makele. He was the deputy registrar in the University of Lagos that time until he was appointed commissioner. And he later became Minister of Steel. And that was when Ajakuta Steel Company was to be established. He's one of the leading lights in Aworo today. Similarly, we used to have one of the very early professors by the name of Professor Badi Onimode. He also rose to become the Deputy Vice Chancellor of University of Ibadan, Nigeria's premier university. Later, government appointed him as the chairman of the Economic Advisory Council of Nigeria. I think that was during the first tenure of President Olusegun Obasanjo. We have somebody like Mr. Suleiman B. Bello. He's also late. He was a director in the Ministry of Works in Kwara State until he became the general manager of Kwara Transport Corporation before the creation of states. When the state was created, he also came here to Lokoja and started this travelers transport something until he crossed over to the federal level, where he became a director in the ecological office of the presidency. Apart from these positions, these people I have mentioned, they have won awards, national awards. Like S.B. Bello was declared the best transport manager in the country. He was also awarded the medal for this national productivity. I can't remember all that. And of course, there have been so many people who have come up in recent times, directors in ministries, practicing lawyers, and engineers who are providing effective service to the state. And I want to say with a lot of pride that all these people I've mentioned, they have never been indicted for corruption.
Esta canción va dedicada para el pueblo de Regla, Guanabacoa, Matanza, Guantánamo, Santa Clara, La Esperanza, para Cuba y toda la nación afrolatina, también para nuestros primos los árabes.
Support our YouTube channel at F11 Technologies. Like our videos, previous videos that we've posted, help share, comment, and turn on notifications so that every time we post new videos, you'll be the first to see them. Thank you so much.